Chud327, and I'm helping some friends restore a house. This is the match the door on the tiny house, and there's no hole for the doorknob. We're going to take care of that problem real soon. That door goes here. If we go into this closet, this used to be a wall. We've opened it up. Now there's going to be a door here. We put in this slab door. It's an old slab door she had in storage, and there's no hole for a doorknob. I've already marked where the doorknob hole is going to be. It used to be a walk-through from the bathroom, but now that's been closed off. It's going to walk in from the kitchen. I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to drill a hole to put in a doorknob. Then we'll put the doorknob in. My first step, this template, it comes with the doorknob. There's a dotted line where you fold it. That tells you where to drill the holes. I need that dot. I've transferred it here. This is 35 inches from the bottom of the door up. Over here, depending on which door you have, if it's 1 3/4, you use that hole. If it's 1 3/8, you use this hole. I've already transferred that. Now we got to drill some holes. To drill holes, I've got these wind chimes. I'm going with the 2-inch and the small 1-inch hole. 2-inch goes here, 1-inch goes there. I'll stop talking and I'll show you. So I'm going to take the hole saw apart, get that drill bit out of it. I'm going to use the drill bit to go through the door. I'm going to hold the drill as level as I can. Some drills have a level on them. This one I'm just going to eyeball. I'm going to shoot it through. That way I can drill from this side and drill from the other side. Then we put the hole saw back together. It's a real simple system. Hand tight. And we start our hole. Then we get about halfway, I'll drill in from the other side. And then drilling from this side, it keeps the finish better for the doorknob to cover up. Now this is a wood drill bit. We can't use it on the other door. The other door is metal. We'll have to have a metal drill bit, a metal hole saw. And now for the 1-inch small hole. Real wood. Up next we slide the latch in place. I'm going to trace around it. I don't have a router, so I'm going to use my wood chisel. So to get the latch to go in flush, I've got my razor knife, I've got my wood chisel, and I've got my hammer. Make an outline where you want to cut. That's pretty close. I'm going to trim it up a little bit with my razor knife. Now it's time to put the 2 screws in. Tight, but not tight enough to strip out. And now it's time to put on the door knobs. They go together just like this. There's 2 screws that go in here and here. We're 2 screws away from being done with this part of it. The 2 screws are now in, they're snug. The latch works. It is now time to install the striker plate. First step, striker plate. I got a mark where it hits. And then I'll take a measurement from the face of the door to the back of the latch, transfer that to the frame. From the face of the door to the back of the latch, looks like about 3/8. We'll transfer that to the frame. Looks like years and years ago there was a door that swung the other way. That's a hinge. We're going the opposite way this time. Take my speed square, transfer where the latch hits. This is my striker plate. We said 3/8 of an inch. So the edge of my hole needs to be right about here. That gives me a little bit of room to put that little piece of metal in. Just like that. So I'm going to start first with about a 3/4 inch hole right about here. And the edge of it's going to fall right on that line. And then wood chisel, I got to make the back of this hole square. Alright, that's plenty big enough. It has to be big enough for this striker to go into it, like that. And we can adjust this wherever we want it. We'll do that next. And then kind of find out the hole is in the right place. By the time we get the striker on, it's going to be flush with the frame. Perfect. Make sure this angle goes towards the way it shuts. Let's get the striker installed. So the striker goes on just like that. The latch angle hits on this angle, goes in, and it latches. And I'm using these little short, about a 1/2 inch screws. The screws are now in. Let's test it, see how it works. That is just right. So I would usually take the router or a chisel and I would recess that striker plate, but there's so much gap, I don't want to get too far away from the door. I'm going to leave it just like it is. Now the door needs to be cleaned up and painted. We're going to put some trim here. And then here in the closet I added some trim. This is 2x4. I set the table saw at a 1/2 inch and I ripped that off the edge of a 2x4, enough to go all the way around. You close the door, you put it there, you tack it on with your nail gun, piece of cake. And then where the hinges used to be, I put in some drywall mud, sanded it down, put on a couple coats. That's a lot better. So once the gem gets painted, once the door gets painted, at least the door's been cleaned, this job is done. I should now show you changing a doorknob in the garage. This is the day of the doorknobs. I'm now on an exterior door. This is out in the garage, putting in the deadbolt, and it goes together with 2 big screws. Once we get to the door jamb, there's going to be 2 huge screws that'll go through a stud or 2. Short screw would go into the trim, easy to break. These, you got to break studs to break in. Now for the deadbolt, there's 2 plates. There's a security plate and then there's a pretty plate. The security one goes on with long screws into the studs. And then the pretty plate covers up the security plate and uses these little short 1/2 inch screws.